Let's talk, shall we? So, if I was a member of the State Board of Education and I was given an opportunity to create a system for assessing each school, what would that look like? Well, I have a few notes here. I'll be referring to it just so I don't forget. There are a couple things that I think a State Board of Education should include when assessing schools. First is student growth. How are students learning? How are they growing? Well, I wouldn't just give a test at the end of each academic year. I actually would have a test that would be given at the beginning of the school year and the same test at the end. And I would be looking specifically to see how is the school moving students based on where they started and where they ended. I think that's really important, and that should be one area of the assessment system that's included. Next, I would want to know, how do the students feel about the school? So student voice would be incredibly important, and I would want a way for students to be able to share their feedback on the school culture and what it's like to be a student and how that's impacting their learning. In addition, I'd want some sort of assessment of the school environment. And by school environment, I'm speaking to things in the school that are important but sometimes aren't always assessed. For example, what's happening in the cafeteria? How is the food? How do the students feel about the food? What's happening in the library? Are books readily accessible for students? Do students enjoy using the library? What does the special areas look like? Are kids truly learning the things that they need to be learning in their special area classes to prepare them for their futures? I also would be incredibly interested in the mental health and therapy supports in the school. If anything, we've realized with the COVID-19 pandemic that students have a lot of loss. And the only way that kids can start to heal and fill in some of those gaps outside of just academic gaps is the ability to receive some sort of therapy and some sort of supports in balancing their mental health. Finally, I would want to have some sort of assessment or a way to assess the parents' engagement in the school. And oftentimes, parent engagement is not assessed in a way where we get real data from all of the varying subgroups of parents in the school. And so it would be important for me to have some sort of system that would look specifically into getting data and information from all of the different subgroups of parents in the schools. So these are just a few of the things that I think would be really important to assess in a system if I were able to be a part of a State Board of Education.